Reginald, thank you so much for joining us. Let's take a look at the big story coming out of Kenya today. It's the retail chain Nakumatt supermarket is selling its stake of 30% ownership of the supermarket. How will this affect the company's profit margin going forward?
Basically, we're still trying to ascertain actually whether they will actually sell the 30%. What normally happens with the Nakumatt when they are borrowing something from their partner banks or their partner investors, there's normally a media story to go along with it. If you look at the last time that they borrowed money from their partner banks, that's when they're issuing the story of the IPO planning on listing. Now we know that they're trying to do some syndicated loans and some commercial paper with their banks again. And again, now another story comes out that they're selling 30%. And so we're still trying to ascertain whether actually they are selling. Yeah. In terms of affecting their profits and the operations of the company, Nakumatt currently is very heavily indebted. Actually, if their debt to equity ratio is close to 200%, that means there's 100%, the debt is 100% more than the shareholder funds that have been injected. So any funds that come through any equity injection, most probably will go try and reduce their loans so that they can give them more leg room to actually go forward with their expansion plans. So in terms of profits, I don't think there will be immediate impact on their profits when the new guys come in. But with time, when they get more leg room, their debt reduces, I think then they will have more room to play around with the different markets that are there now.
Yeah. Well, knowing the company's debt level, who are these potential buyers?
That's what is actually baffling right now, that for someone who's coming to invest in a company that is so leveraged, there's quite a number of steps that need to be done. Because normally private equity investors either will ask the company to deleverage itself before they come in, because I don't think they'll want their funds to be used to clear debt. Because for them, they're after the return and they're looking at the time that they will take to exit and how much of that money Nakumatt can turn around to actually boost their earnings return of the company. So the newspapers say some investors in the UK, some investors in the Middle East, but really there's nothing substantive. The company is not opening up to say we have found an investor in this region of the world.
Yeah. Well, the economic downturn has dropped the purchasing volumes of consumers by about 25% per basket. How exactly will the company bring up purchasing power going forward?
For Nakumatt, their main target clientele is the upper end of the market. They're really not worried about price. If you notice, Nakumatt, normally most of their prices are more expensive than anyone else. They're looking at people that buy goods because they are actually valuable. A person that will go into a supermarket and leave a loaf of bread that is maybe going for 30 shillings and buy one for 60 shillings because it makes them feel good. I've bought bread for 60 shillings. I can afford it. So for them, the reduction in purchasing power, they will not feel it that much recently. If you look where their supermarkets are located, they're not located really in the lower end of the market, but in the upper end of the market, who really don't feel the slight differences in inflation prices.
All right, and just before we go, take us through what the boss is going to do this week, what the outlook is, and how the big counters like EABL, Safaricom, how they're going to trade for this week.
Actually, Safaricom was up today a good 6%, touched the high of 480. And most of the trade that was taking place there was foreigners. And because of that, the bourse was also up again today. I think actually it broke its 200-day exponential moving average. But if you look at other indicators, it shows that there is actually no conviction in the upward movement of the market. So as long as Safaricom goes up during the week, we expect the bourse also to be trending upwards. But if Safaricom steadies or starts coming down, coupled also by a drop maybe in KPLC that has been up today 11%, we expect the market actually to remain range bound. So the counters actually to look at is Safaricom and KPLC. Whatever movement that takes place on those two counters will basically give you the direction where the market will go.